Okay, sit yourself into your lift and come into a good cross-legged position. Just move that out of the way. Just find some levelness at the seat point. Just have a little wriggle about. Just make sure that you're feeling like you're sitting levelly, sitting on a level surface, or sitting, feeling level at the hips. I can't say the words. Hold on to your knees, lift it up into your chest, elevate the heart area up to the ceiling, and then draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just look down at the floor, look at something that's not moving. So fill your lungs from the bottom to the top. Just adjust a little if you feel that you're, after a little while, you're not sitting level. Fill the lungs from the bottom to the top and empty your lungs from the top to the bottom. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together. Just focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. And then with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, expanding the lungs upwards and outwards. Breathing into the armpit chest, breathing into the back chest as well as the front chest. Consciously breathing a little more deeply than usual. If there's any reason why you shouldn't hold your breath, just allow that deeper breath just to be as natural as possible. Don't overwork it. So each inhalation brings in positive energy to the body. Simple function like breathing that we need to do unconsciously. As soon as we do it more consciously, it brings in boundless energy. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open, holding on to that feeling of abundance. Hold on to your knees, lift up into your chest, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn with the exhalation to the right side, drawing yourself across. Drawing the abdomen from the left to the right. Try and get your belly button to draw across. Dig the back hand firmly into the floor and elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, and then turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders. And then gently come back to the center. Come off your seat bones and sit back on your heels. Just sit on the seat bones. Just elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. And then lengthen the chin and the chest forwards. Press the palms firmly into the floor and then come down into Adho Mukha Virasana, just opening the lower back, drawing the tailbone down towards your heels, lengthening into the arms. Just listen to the breath, focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Just feeling the lower back broadening and opening. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under. Do dog dandasana if you're not coming up into dog down. Come up into dog down, just feeling how the body responds to the pose, just working to straighten the legs, just waking up the body. Just pushing the knees through to the backs of the knees, pushing the thighs up to the top of the leg and pushing the front of the thigh through to the back of the knee. So regardless of whether you're in dog down or dandasana, then activate your legs in the same way. Just focusing on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Get some blocks for your hands. And then come into half uttanasana, having the feet as wide apart as the mat. Feet as wide apart as the mat, your big toes turning inwards. The outside edge of your feet in line with the edge of the mat. Just have a look around the edge of the foot, just to make sure that the feet are in the right place for maximum extension. Lift up into the chest, wing the elbows towards each other, keep the head lifted, and then hinge entirely at the hips, like the back has no flexibility at all. Keep hinging from the hips, lifting the backs of the thighs away from the seat bones, and then just be on fingertips on the blocks. So activate your legs in the same way as you were doing in dandasana or dog down. Spend a moment to really acknowledge whether you are working evenly into both legs. Whether one leg is reluctant, one leg is eager, whether both legs are a little reluctant this morning. Just see if you can bring your focus and attention into the action of the legs. Extending the spine away from the legs, keeping the back straight, keeping the shoulder blade region drawing in. If you can go down lower, then do. Try and bring your focus into the physical body, working to bring evenness of action. So are you all legs and no spine? All spine and no legs? Try and bring your attention evenly throughout the entire body. And then bring your hands into your hips, and then bend your knees on the way up if you need to. Come up into a standing position. Just come into tadasana. Just lift chest to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears, activating your legs. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Arms out nice and wide, spread the fingers, spread the palms. Bring your hands in towards the chest, and then step or jump the feet nice and wide apart. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, and then come back to face the front. Tighten the kneecaps. Turn the legs outwards, the opposite of tadasana. And then come down, find the shin and look up if you can. Drawing the abdomen up to the ceiling, drawing the chest up to the ceiling. Just feel where the body is in 3 dimensions. Observe whether the feet line up with the hips, line up with the chest. Breathe in and out through the nose if you can. Activate the legs evenly. You often have to work a little harder in that back leg in order to maintain the levelness of action. And then come back to the centre, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Again, turning the legs outwards. And then reach over, find the shin, look up. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, getting the legs to work evenly. And then come back to the centre, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together, and then come back into tadasana. Just breathe even, deep inhalations and exhalations, listening to the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Activating the legs, activating the kneecaps. Just bringing your attention into the physical body. So perhaps at first that is difficult. The mind doesn't feel inclined to engage with the physical body. After a few poses, we start to draw our attention inwards into the legs, into the chest, into the hips, into the shoulders, into the arms, into the neck, into the head, into the skin, from the face to the feet. So bring your attention into the physical body. Listen to the breath. Okay, get a couple of blocks for the right side of your mat for parsvottanasana. So make sure you're not going to jump on them, just have them wide apart so that you can reach them. Have your arms now nice and wide. Just come back into tadasana when you're ready. Your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, and then take the hips around with that front leg. Turn the legs inwards this time in tadasana. Pick up the back heel, turn that back heel out, so that then you can really turn these legs really consciously inwards, and the hips will come level. The heels are in line with each other. If you find that a little wobbly, then bring that right foot out to the side a little bit more. So feel that this back leg hip is coming from the buttock all the way to the hip. It's coming forwards, lift up into the chest. Keep the legs really straight as you hinge at the hips, and then reach down and find the blocks or find the floor. But it's often good just to start off a little bit higher, especially on a Monday morning. Turn the legs inwards. Project into the chest, like we were doing in Uttanasana. If you can go down lower, then do. But remain on the fingertips. Just feel the legs stretching. The legs become even in action. You can reach down to the floor, then do. All the time, just adjusting the action of the legs, projecting into the spine. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, activating the shoulder blade region, drawing the shoulder blades in towards the front chest, lifting the sternum bone towards the chin. If you can walk your hands back, but keep the head lifted, keep extending forwards with the spine. Just walking the hands towards that back leg. Breathing in in through the nose and out through the nose. But don't bring the head down straight away. I can feel some resistance, so I'm not bringing my head down. I'm just working to lengthen my chest away from the hips. Okay, and then just walk your hands back to the feet, bend that front leg, step in with the front, with the back leg, and then come back to the center. Put the blocks on the other side of your mat, and then come back up into tadasana. Just feel the energy of the hips. Listen to the breath. Listening in to the physical body. Listening to the breath, listening to the body. So listening to the breath is something that we do perhaps with the ears, but also with the body. Because we can feel the in-breath expand in the chest. We can feel the out-breath relax in the chest. We can feel the in-breath expand in the abdomen. We can feel the abdomen draw in as we exhale. So we can hear the body through the ears, but also through the feeling of the pose. So just see the physical body in 3 dimensions. Feel that you are standing evenly. Bring your arms out nice and wide in toward your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart. Just bring your hands into your hips. Turn your right toes in as steeply as you can. Rotate the left leg, and then turn the right heel all the way out. Turn in the legs as we go. Rotating the fronts of the legs consciously inwards. Just finding your physical body in the pose. Listening to the body. Activating the legs, activating the kneecaps. Keeping the head lifted like we did in uttanasana, and then come forwards. Reach forwards, find the blocks, and just bring the blocks onto the highest end to start off with. Monday morning yoga, often we feel a little stiff because maybe we haven't done any yoga over the weekend. Perhaps we've done lots of walking and activity. So see if you can straighten that front leg, Andrew, tighten the kneecap, that's it. With straight legs, you either stay at that higher lift, just working to find that levelness of action, that consciousness of action. That action between the legs and the spine. So is this all front leg orientated, or is it all back leg orientated, or is it legs and spine, legs, spine, arms, head, neck? Just try and work into the pose, just feeling that this side feels different. Not being in a rush to push ourselves into the next stage. Just finding your levelness. When you have found that levelness, and sometimes that takes a little bit of finding, then move into the next stage. But maybe the next stage, rather than going down lower, is working into the spine more deeply. So just find your pose. So just find the pose from the feeling rather than from the ego. Okay, bring your hands forwards alongside the front foot, bend that front leg, hop in with the back leg, and then come back up into tadasana. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, feeling the lungs. finding your levelness of action within your tadasana. You can turn the palms outwards so that you rotate the upper arms in the socket so that you broaden the chest. Come down onto your knees. We're going to go into dog down. So if you're not doing dog down, you can do either supta konasana on your back with your feet together, your knees apart, or bandhas. Otherwise, have your hands shoulder width apart for dog down. Have your feet hip width apart, and then bring yourself up into ardha svanasana, or whichever pose you're doing as an alternative. Work your legs in dandasana in the same way that you would work them in dog down. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards like parsvottanasana, like tadasana. Activating both legs evenly. Just letting the head hang down. Breathe even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Continue to fill the lungs from the bottom to the top. Dog down and dandasana are particularly good poses for observing the breath. And then come down onto your knees. Just sit back on your heels. If you're in supta konasana, stay in supta konasana. Otherwise, just sit on your heels, lift up into the chest. Just observe your energy, whichever pose you're in. Just observe the lightness of the energy that you have released through your practice so far. And then come forwards from sitting back on your heels in virasana, just come forward into ardha virasana. If you're in supta konasana, then stay in supta konasana. And then sit back on your heels, and then just everyone come into cross legs. Sit directly on the floor in cross legs. So sitting directly on the floor is good if it's effective, and you know that it's effective because you can lift into the spine. If sitting directly on the floor is ineffective, it makes you do this. It makes you sink in the chest. So if you're sitting on the sacrum area of your back, if you can't lift into the chest, then sit on a folded blanket or on a couple of blocks, just to give you a little bit of a lift underneath the seat bones. And then roll onto the front edge of the seat bones. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest. Alternatively, if your knees are really high in cross legs, if your knees are up kind of like this, then it's going to be really difficult to lift the chest. So sit on a lift in that case as well. Just lift up into the chest. Breathe in in through the nose and out through the nose, consciously drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with your chest. Jalandhara bandha. Just incorporate mula bandha by raising the anal sphincter upwards towards the diaphragm region. So mula bandha and Jalandhara bandha are energy locks that allow you to maintain the energy of the breath, to hold on to the energy rather than to lose it. So just focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. But as you fill the lungs, allow the energy of that breath to just overflow into the arms and the chest and the legs. So we're not holding the breath, we're not controlling the breath, we're just observing it. Just allow the energy of the breath to overflow from the top of the lungs into the arms and the chest and the torso and the legs. So if there's a reason why you shouldn't hold your breath, then just let the breath be as natural as you can. This is a very energizing breath. Maintain mula bandha, maintain Jalandhara bandha. And then gently release mula bandha, release Jalandhara bandha, and then bring your head back up to the centre. If you've got a bad back, you may just want to stay at this stage, just working to fill the lungs from the bottom to the top, empty them from the top to the bottom. Otherwise, you'll need a couple of blocks for your hands, and we're going to come forwards into Adho Mukha swastikasana, or half padmasana, Adho Mukha ardha padmasana. So lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area. See if you can really lift, scoop up the abdomen up to the diaphragm, and then holding onto your knees, come forwards, lengthening the abdomen towards the diaphragm, towards the collarbone, towards the chin. Just gently coming forwards, trying to bring the chest to the floor. Then take hold of the blocks, reach forwards, have your arms quite wide apart, and then press the palms into the floor, press the palms into the blocks, and extend away. If it feels like you can come forwards a little, then bring the blocks lower. Keep the seat bones down on the floor. Keep the chin and the chest driving forwards, using those blocks to give you height. You can always put the blocks even higher. If you've got a bolster handy, you can put the blocks on top of a bolster if you need it. Just feel that you can stretch the lower back, draw the tailbone towards the floor, lift the chest. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. And then gently come back to the center. So hold on to your knees and lift your chest up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then turn with an exhalation to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. So really drawing the abdomen from the right to the left. It's from the left to the right even. Drawing your abdomen across, your ribs across, your shoulders across, digging the backhand into the floor so that you can maintain your position on the front edge of the seat bone. Back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, and then turn to the left. And then gently come back to the center. Just come down onto your back into supta, konasana. So come down onto your back, pull your knees in towards the seat bones, let the knees fall apart. Hold onto your lower ribs. And feel the chest expand with the in-breath and relax with the out-breath. Let the knees fall apart. If there's stiffness in your hips, then initially just press the heels really consciously together. Draw the lower back down onto the floor. If that doesn't solve the stiffness of your hips, then put some blocks under the underside of your thighs. Always just use the floor just to press the heels and the feet together, to turn the tailbone in and to soften the lumbar into the floor. Stretch your arms to the ceiling, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out for asana action in the arms, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. If there's stiffness in your shoulders, then put a folded blanket or some blocks underneath your hands, just to give you a bit of support. So just feel how your body responds to the pose. Does it feel even on the left side and the right side, or does it feel uneven? Try and address perceivable unevenness. Lift the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone. Keep the belly button drawing towards the floor just to soften the lumbar. And then raise your arms, just swap the interlock of your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. So perhaps our sequence this morning just helps a reluctant body to readdress the physical pose, to engage the brain into the pose, to engage the mind and the observation, to bring observation into the action, to bring action into the observation. So everyone's a little stiff this morning from activities over the weekend. lots of work in the garden and in the allotments and going out for long walks. So just open up our energy through the action of our yoga poses. And then just release your arms, rest your hands on your lower ribs. And then draw your knees towards each other. Have the knees together and the feet apart, just resting out the back. If you've got a bolster handy, then we're going to use that underneath the seat bones for viparita karanhi. If you don't, you can do it directly on the floor. You can just hold on to the sides of the mat and lengthen the legs up to the ceiling. You can do that without the bolster. That will work fine. So just otherwise lift the seat bones, bring the bolster into the small of the back, just the lower back. Hold on to the bolster, bend your knees into the chest, and then elevate your legs up to the ceiling. Come right up onto the tops of the shoulders. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. So just gently inverting the physical body, just observing how that actions into the body. Keep the legs straight by tightening the kneecaps, lengthening the calves up to the heels, from the backs of the knees. If there's any reason why you shouldn't be upside down for any length of time, then just bring your feet down onto the floor. You can stay with the bolster underneath you. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So, Andrew, just be cautious of staying upside down for too long. Just feel how it feels for you. So you can just rest your feet on the floor. Listen to the breath. Inversions are really good for the immune system. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Okay, bend your knees if your legs are still in the air, and then rest your feet onto the floor. Just rest for a moment, just with the bolster underneath you. And then lift the seat bones, just slide the bolster out of the way, and then just sit yourself up for a moment. Bring your folded blanket, make sure it's folded evenly. Just bring that from underneath your head. And then just bring yourself down in a really good straight line right down the centre of your mat. And then gently allow yourself to release into the floor. Just Listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. So when you're down on the floor, allow your body to become heavy onto the ground. Releasing into the floor, allowing the body to gently relax. Observing as you stay how perhaps a feeling of energetic lightness radiates from the bones and into the muscles. Into the organs, radiating into the organs and into the flesh and the skin. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest, just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine, just really working into your back. And then roll over onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Just bring the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you are full of good, positive energy to put into your day.